Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books, and today I'm going to be talking about Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patti Callahan. Also, I had a big day at work today, so I feel like I'm dressed more nicer than normal, but if you're wondering why, that's why. Anyway, this book was recommended to me by one of my followers over on Bookstagram, Kristen's Reading Nook. Kristen has recommended books to me in the past, and she always recommends books that are outside my typical comfort zone, which is fantasy and Stephen King. But I always appreciate her recommendations. So if you don't know anything about this book, it's about a young girl growing up in England. She has a younger brother who has a terminal illness, and her brother loves to read, but specifically, he loves to read the Narnia books. Now, at the time that this story takes place, I believe that only the first book, the first published book, I should say, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, is out. So the young brother in the story really wants to know, how did this book come about? Where did Aslan the lion come from? Where did Narnia come from? How did the author come up with all these amazing ideas? And our main character, her name is Megs, and Megs is very much a student. She is into math and science. She's very analytical, and she's facts and, believes what she can see. So for her to go out and try to find where this story came from for her brother kind of challenges everything that she believes. So that's really all you need to know going into this book. Normally I talk about world building, characters, and plot, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the book and what I didn't like about the book. And warning, sneak preview, there's not much I didn't like. So what I did like about the book. What I like about this book is that reading it is like a warm hug, or a warm cup of tea or coffee if you're a coffee person. It really is just a feel-good book. I was worried a bit going in because the brother has this terminal illness. I was worried the book was going to be a tearjerker, but it's not. It's really not. This book approaches all of the characters and all of the subject matter from a place of hope and a place of love. So no matter what happens in the book, it's not a tearjerker because it makes you feel good and happy, instead of some books really go for the jugular and they go for the sad. This book does not. This book only goes for the happy. So that is something I liked. On the flip side though, I do think that this book is too sweet at times, a little bit too sweet. I do read a lot of, dark fantasy and Stephen King, and not that I don't appreciate a happy-go-lucky story, but this book is so sweet that it hurts your teeth sometimes. So just be forewarned. If you are looking for that type of story, you will definitely get it from this. If you're not looking for that type of story though, this might hurt your teeth a little bit. Another thing I liked is the main character, Megs. And it's funny because in the first half of the book, in the first little bit, I didn't like Megs. I didn't like her because I felt like her character was only defined by her younger brother. There wasn't anything else to her character other than her little brother. And that consumed her whole life, and there wasn't anything else to her. Luckily, in the back half of the book, that changed, and we got to know more about Megs as a person and as an individual separate from her brother. She still loves her brother and, wants to do everything in the world for him, but she also has her own life and her own hopes and dreams, her own friends, her own romances. And I think the book took a little bit too long to get to there, but it does get there eventually. So again, if you're going into this book, be a little patient because that character development doesn't come until a little bit later. But once it's there, like, it really adds a lot of dimension to the story, in my opinion, some much needed dimension. And then the third thing that I like about this story is really just the whole exploration of what it means to be an author and what it means to create this type of story, this fantasy story. Like, Megs spends a lot of time talking with C.S. Lewis, who wrote the Narnia Chronicles, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And when she first goes to him, she's very much, because she's a scientific, analytical person, she wants to know, like, how did you create Aslan the lion? How did you create Narnia? And she's looking for a, A to B, solid answer, easy comparison. But anyone who's ever written knows that it's not always that simple. And sometimes ideas can come from one thing, but a lot of times they're a combination of a lot of different stuff. And I love that the way the book explores that, the way that the book explores storytelling and what it really means to be a storyteller and what it means to tell a story. I loved all that stuff. I thought all of that was super fascinating. I understand, it says this in the book in like the notes and stuff, but the author did work with C.S. Lewis's family. So a lot of the things in here are facts about his life. So if you don't know anything about C.S. Lewis and you want to know more, this is a good place to start, because even though it's fiction, it is based on facts about his life, which I thought was really entertaining. So just to wrap this video all up, the things I liked about this book are it's a feel-good book. It feels like a warm hug. I liked Meg's character. I liked her development. And I loved getting to explore the life of C.S. Lewis and what it means to be a storyteller. The things I didn't like about the book are that at times it does get a little bit oversweet, a little bit over saccharine, if you will. And it does take a little bit too long to get into Meg's development. But overall, I did really enjoy this one. This was my first Patti Callahan book. I would definitely be interested in reading another one from her at some point. So hopefully that helps you decide if this is something you should read or not. That is it for me today, my review of Once Upon a Wardrobe. So now Swiper and I want to know from you, have you read Once Upon a Wardrobe? Have you read another Patti Callahan book? Or have you ever read a book about a real life author? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more book reviews and more furry friends coming soon. All right, everyone, happy reading. You want a treat? You want a treat? Here you go. Good girl.